Among Excel's many data management tools, most of which are found on the Data tab up on the ribbon, probably the most commonly used is sort. And nearly always in Excel, sort means we're moving rows up and down. We've got a list here in columns A through J. It's about 700 rows or so. And at different times, we want to sort based on what we see in one of the columns, one or more of the columns to be more accurate. Currently, this list is sorted by hire date. Those people hired earliest appear at the top of the list here. But for sorting, always make sure that any other data that might be on this worksheet, like this data to the right, is separated from the list that we want to sort by at least one empty column, as it is here. And when you're ready to sort, one other aspect, particularly if it's new data or data sent to you that you're not too sure of, make sure there are no empty rows or columns within it. Now, if it's not too large, you could scroll up and down possibly, but there could be some hidden rows that are empty as well too. So a quick check here can be achieved by simply clicking a cell here, press Control A, and either scroll up and down or press Control period a few times. This will simply move the active cell around the corners of this list. When you're at the bottom, if you're not sure, just scroll a little bit more. So Control period a few times. If you work with this list frequently, you don't need to do that very often, but occasionally it's helpful. No empty rows, no empty columns within the list. And when we're ready to sort, we could begin on the Home tab. Way off to the right, you'll see Sort and Filter. Notice there are 3 choices here. I do recommend Custom Sort. It gives us more choices. The other ones are instantaneous and might surprise us at the results. We can also get here the more standard way by way of the Data tab, Sort right here, the larger of the 3 choices. When you come to this dialog box, give a quick look for this option to the right. My Data has headers. Excel nearly always figures out that your top row is different, if it is, as it is in this case. If this should be checked and it isn't, of course, give it a check. We can sort by a single field here. Right now it's by hire date, but we can also sort on multiple fields. Imagine, for example, that I do want to sort this list by department, alphabetically. But there's so many people in certain departments here that I want a secondary level here. We can add a level. So within each department, for example, I might want them in order by their status, contract, full-time, etc. And here too, some of the departments are quite large. A lot of people will have the same status, same department. I could add another level and another perhaps. Maybe I'll sort by years of service. That's a numeric field. We might want that to be largest to smallest, but either way, always give that some thought. With text fields, I think most of the time, nearly always, that A to Z alphabetical order is what we keep. We can even go to a 4th level here and sort by the employee name. So when you're sorting on multiple fields, using the larger sort button makes sense. Click OK, and sorting is amazingly fast, practically instantaneous. So here we have this list. It's sorted by department. Within each department, we've got our contract people, then our full-time people, for example. And here's a cluster of people, and they're in order how? Descending by the years in column F here. And when they're the same, like these 3 here, it's alphabetical by name. So you quickly adjust to the idea that we sometimes sort on multiple fields. But those other buttons are really handy too. So suppose, for example, you want to sort the entire list based on the data in column A. That does not mean rearrange column A only. That would be a disaster. So don't click the column itself. Just click one of the entries in column A. And if you click the AZ button here, no questions asked, amazingly fast again, the entire list has been reordered. All the rows got moved up or down so that it's alphabetical based on the data in column A. Now, suppose at a later time, we sort by department. So I'll click in column C. Click the AZ button. Now it's in order by department. But what did Excel remember? It remembered the previous order. So within each department here, you can see what's happening in account management. It's in order by employee name because that was the previous sort. And we come to the next department, even the shorter list here, that's alphabetical within that department. So we can see how fast these can be. And when you're only sorting on 1 or 2 fields, these buttons here come in handy. So sorting is an amazing tool. Nearly always it means we move rows up and down. It's also extremely fast and easy to get to. One of Excel's best tools, sorting. As you work with larger lists, there certainly will be times when you're saying, I don't want to see all this data. I only want to see, for example, as we look at this list here, the people who work in a certain building, or the people who have a certain job rating, or the people who have a certain status or in a certain department. And we can use multiple fields as we do this. And the feature is called filtering. You can get to it by way of the Home tab. And if you simply click with inside the data, and as always, when you work with lists in Excel, make sure your list has no empty rows or columns. And in the previous movie, you might have seen some tips on how to ensure that. And on the Home tab, sort and filter. We'll also see this on the Data tab. We can start filtering. All this does initially is simply put arrows at the top of each column. And most people find this amazingly easy to work with. Let's imagine that we only want to see full-time people. We'll click the drop arrow here. We've got the different choices here. Let's unselect them all. Uncheck that box. Click full-time. Click OK. And we learned to look in the lower left-hand corner. 393 of 741 records are found. When the row numbers are blue, we get used to the idea that we're not seeing all of the data. We're only seeing full-time people here. Now, at the same time that filter is in effect, and notice that the column heading has an icon, a filter icon. The other columns don't. We can filter on a second column as well. Let's say we're only interested in those full-time people who have a job rating of 5. So in column I, we'll click the drop arrow, unselect them all, and click 5. Click OK. And now our list is down to 92. All of these people here are full-time and have a job rating of 5. And we're not always necessarily attempting to make the list smaller, but we can certainly filter on other columns as well too. And if we go to a numeric column like years of service, click the drop arrow here, we could go to number filters. Maybe we want to see those greater than a certain number of years, or less than, or even between. And we even have other choices down here as well. So lots to explore. A simple one might be here, simply greater than. How about 9 years, meaning 10 or above? Click OK. And all the people on our list here are full-time with a job rating of 5 who have been here more than 9 years. There are 39 of them. And we can even sort this list here too, based on years if we wish. Click the drop arrow here. We can sort, for example, largest to smallest. So at any given time, the filtering concept simply hides the rows we don't want to see. If we want to bring back all the data, we can go to the Data tab and choose Clear just to the right of Filter. There it is. And based on the kind of columns that we have here, Excel picks up on that and gives us different choices. If we wanted to do some filtering by hire date, we can click a drop arrow and you'll see this term Date Filters. If this were transactional type data that's current, we might want to look at yesterday or last week, maybe even this week. If it's predictive data, maybe we're looking ahead into the next quarter, next month. You see all kinds of choices here. We can even go down to all dates in the period. We could find all the people hired in September, for example. And so it's relatively easy to work with. It simply hides the data we don't want to see. Nothing gets destroyed. If you copy one of these lists, Excel picks up only the visible data. If we paste it elsewhere, we'll only get the size of the list that we've got in our filter here. Right now it's 51 records. So it's easy to use. And there are all kinds of special techniques you might want to consider using beyond the scope of this course. For example, employee name. There are text filters here, people's names that begin with or end with certain letters. You can imagine using something like that, maybe with contract numbers, part numbers. Lots of options here to consider. It's easy to use. If we no longer need the feature for a while, we can either clear the data, the arrows are still there, or if they are in the way or we simply don't need them anymore, click the filter button. And it's easy to reestablish. So it's a great tool, easy to use, filtering. It simply hides the data that we don't want to see.